had a viewer that emailed me, and they had such a phenomenal email, and it really brought up a lot of emotions in me, and I could really relate to it, and I wanted to share some of the aspects of this email. I'm not going to read it, of course, because I feel like there are so many people who could benefit. Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, it's Allie. I'm on a fantabulous weight loss quest, and hopefully you'll subscribe, come along for the ride, because I put out new videos every day. And if you haven't already, go ahead and like this video because this one is going to be touching. So, a subscriber, if I could get the word out, emailed me, and they had a question that they wanted to ask in private. So of course, I'm not going to read the email to you, but if you are that subscriber, hey, I love you. I hope you're having a great day. So I wanted to make a video about this topic because it's one that is near and dear to my heart. It is one that many people struggle with, and it's not talked about enough. One of the things that has happened along my health journey is that I have a completely new, revamped, shiny relationship with food. And it's not something that came easily. It's something that I really had to work on. It is one of the main reasons that I say that therapy should be a requirement for people who are on these medications, just like it's a requirement for those who choose, the various bariatric surgery options. I think it's so important to address the mental aspect of this health journey, whether you are a diabetic, whether you are on medications for weight loss, whether you have PCOS, Hashimoto's, whatever the case may be, we all have some sort of trauma that is associated with being overweight, whether it's for the last year or two that you were overweight or your entire life. We all experience the negativity, the stigma, the pain, the physical pain, the emotional pain that goes along with carrying that extra weight. And then on top of that, we're carrying the extra mental weight of dealing with all of that negativity and trauma. And it continues to follow us even when we're on a health journey. Even when we have lost 112 pounds, like I have, it continues to follow us. So, in this email, this person indicated that they were really struggling with food and their relationship with food and what they described as a food addiction. And they were concerned that this medication was just going to be another option that they tried, and it would be another failure. And the example that they provided was that they ate a specific meal, which was not anything unhealthy. It wasn't fast food. It wasn't something that we, stigmatize as bad food, right? It was just a normal breakfast food. But in their eyes, it had been demonized for so long that they felt a lot of guilt and shame after eating it. They felt like it didn't do anything for them, that it made them bloated, and they were really upset with not only the fact that they chose to eat this food, but all of the feelings that came along with that. And their email was just, it just went straight to my heart. I've been there. I know that feeling. I know the feeling of doubt, of thinking, is this really going to work? I know the feeling of eating something and not feeling well and thinking, why did I do this to myself? Am I self-sabotaging? Why can't I stop? all of those feelings are very real and very hard to deal with. But I'm here to tell you that if you address them head on, which I know sounds scary, but if you address them head on and you don't try to hide from them, you can work through it. First and foremost, I want to say that I am not a doctor, right? As I previously mentioned, you 100 million% should be seeking therapy. If any of this video resonates with you, I highly recommend that you seek therapy. Having the tools to be able to work through really difficult emotional topics like this, it's life-changing. Like this medication is life-changing, having those tools that a good therapist can help you to obtain and to learn, life-changing. It will help you not only in your relationship with food, but in all aspects of your life. So if you haven't considered therapy, please do. Okay, I'm going to stop pushing therapy because I don't want you to think that that's all this video is going to be. So addressing diet culture and the shaming that goes along with certain foods. I want you to take a moment when you have these type of thoughts and ask yourself, what is it that makes this food bad? And really think about that. So, for example, I personally am very challenged in the ways of fast food consumption. That is my personal downfall. Yours may be sweets. Yours may be relating to consuming too many calories in a day, right? We're all on a different kind of spectrum here. For me, fast food was the culprit. I didn't have any self-control. I didn't have any desire to do anything differently. It was just fast, easy, tastes good, yum, consume it. And then the cycle after that was guilt, shame, beat yourself up for the next few days, and then try to tell yourself you're going to get back on the wagon, right? And I'm sure that there are a lot of people who can relate to that. As a matter of fact, if you can relate to that, make sure that you like this video right now. Like the video now. It's right down there in the corner. Okay, all right, we're good. So it's important to remember that for many of us, myself included, food was a crutch. It was an emotional weighted blanket that provided you with a sense of happiness, right? From that dopamine hit. It provided you with a sense of security. It provided you with an escape from reality. But we don't have a reason to escape reality anymore. What we want to do is we want to be grounded in reality. We want to come back. We want to feel the emotions, as hard as it is in the beginning. We want to be in the moment. You cannot live your life with your head in the sand. You cannot live your life running away from everything that you feel or shoving it down, because eventually it's going to catch up to you. And often we see that when these things catch up to you, it often leads to more serious conditions like anxiety, depression, right? And things even more severe than that. So it's important to be uncomfortable in the moment. Now, I'm only going to talk about myself in this aspect because I don't want to make any assumptions about what other people feel. But from previous experiences that I've shared, I understand that there are many who feel this way. So for me, it was all about asking myself the right questions. So if I found myself wanting to eat, but it wasn't a designated mealtime, I would say to myself, Am I hungry? I know this sounds silly, but I cannot tell you how many times that I asked myself this question and the answer was legitimately no. No, I'm not hungry. And I'm not talking about appetite suppression, not hungry. I'm talking about it's in between meals. I'm feeling a compulsion to eat, but I'm not actually hungry. And sitting with that thought then leads to other questions. Why do I want to eat? Am I bored? Which, for those of us suffering like myself from ADD, that happens a lot. There are so many times that I can identify now, thanks to tirzepatide, that I am bored. I'm not being mentally stimulated, whether at work or, on the weekend or wherever it is that I happen to be. I'm not mentally stimulated. Therefore, I'm like, okay, it's time to shove something in my mouth because I'm bored, right? So asking yourself that question can really help alleviate the disconnect. And this was the thing that was profound and life-changing for me. I used to operate over here in denial land, which is not on denial in Egypt. Things are happening and they're happening to me and I have no control and they're just over here happening, chaos. Over here in the land of being connected to your emotions, things have a purpose. Things have meaning. Things are not just happening willy-nilly. There is no chaos and there is control. So I had to work over time to bring these two together. And it doesn't happen overnight. I cannot stress this to you enough. Just like you can't walk from denial to land of emotional stability, right? You can't walk there overnight, but if you take the journey, you can get there. And part of how I got there is by asking the hard questions. Am I bored? Am I hungry? Is it time for me to eat? Why do I want to eat? And you need to really be honest with yourself. You don't need to answer this question for anybody else. You don't have to tell them that this is your thought process. You just need to look in the mirror at yourself and say, self, what's going on? What is it that we're feeling right now that's making us want to eat? Oh, that project is due at work and we're feeling stressed about that. We've got a deadline. Oh, I guess I should do this side because this has the watch. I'm right-handed, that's why I did that. We've got that deadline. So we're feeling the stress, we're feeling the pressure. How would we normally deal with that? We'd start snacking. We'd look for that dopamine somewhere else to alleviate the stress. What can we do instead? What would make me feel better about this project where I've got the deadline and I'm feeling the pressure? Well, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna take 5 minutes. I'm gonna set a timer and I'm gonna work through and make a checklist of everything I need to do for this project, and I'm gonna check off all the things that I've already done. Now, when you have that checklist, the checklist is not there to beat yourself over the head with, okay? So don't misunderstand me. You're gonna check off all the things that you've already done. You're gonna look at this like it's a roadmap for where you're going. And you're like, okay, so I need to do X, I need to do Y, I need to do Z, but I've already done A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V. You see what I'm saying? Like, look at so much we've done already. Now, if you're just starting out on the project and you're feeling overwhelmed and now you've got this big long list and your initial inclination is to go, We're not going to do that. We're going to say, okay, now that I've written this down, I have a plan. So what would make me feel better about this list? If I knocked off A, B, and C, that would make me feel like I'm making progress. So I'm going to take an hour today and I'm going to knock out A, B, C. You set a timer, knock out A, B, C. I like timers, by the way. I know it sounds silly and slightly childish, but especially for those who have ADD, it's very helpful because setting a certain time frame to get something done and then having that reminder that the time frame went off is really, really helpful to then look at everything that you accomplished and you feel better. So asking ourselves the questions, that's the easy part. But being honest with yourself about the answers and really sitting with those answers, that's the hard part. But if you're honest with yourself, if you say to yourself, I'm not hungry right now, because you're not, and you say, I'm really stressed out about this meeting that I have later, and so I'm looking for comfort in food, right? Or I'm really stressed out because I'm having a fight with my family member, and it's very stressful and emotionally charged, and I'm looking for comfort in the emotional weighted blanket that is food, right? Having those honest conversations with yourself makes all the difference. And you have to learn how to do that. And at first, you sound silly because you're talking to yourself and you're like, am I really hungry? Am I just freaking out about this meeting later? Am I upset because my best friend hasn't called me back? Right? But when you're honest with yourself about what's going on inside and why you want to soothe that feeling and not feel it, that's when you can make a different choice. And sometimes that choice is going to be eating, right? And this is the part that throws people for a loop. Sometimes that choice is, you know what? I'm not hungry. I am stressed out and I want to eat something. So instead of the fast food, I may choose to make a protein dip with Greek yogurt and then dip apples into it. I may choose to eat a can of green beans, which if you've been on my channel for any length of time, you know I love to do. I may choose to eat a bag of, Biocare cheddar wonton chips, right? And if you haven't seen that review, make sure you go check it out. There are other options. And sometimes making that healthier substitution can not only make you feel better, but it also helps with the aftermath of feelings that come with choosing to eat. Because sometimes choosing to eat is the right option. But the important part that you need to remember is that food is not good. Food is not bad. Food is just fuel for your body. That's it. Some fuel is more calorie dense than other fuel. Some fuel makes you feel better after you eat it, and some fuel, not so much. But it's not good or bad. It's just food. And if you remind yourself of that, then you will take back the power that food has over you. And I cannot stress this enough. It does not happen overnight. But if you start to have these conversations with yourself and you start to make different choices, you will see that over time, you have come leaps and bounds. And then you look back on it and you're like, whoa, how did I get here? You got here because you were asking yourself the right questions. And you allowed yourself the grace, the self-compassion, the time to get there. And that is so important. It's so important. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. It helps my channel. If you haven't already, subscribe. I'd love to have you along for the ride. If you're looking for other helpful tips and tricks that can help you on your health quest, definitely go check out my other videos. I have multiple playlists. I have playlists for newbies, playlists for people that are looking for a funny pick-me-up, playlists of, reviews of various food and drink items, right? So depending on what you're in the mood for, I kind of got a little bit of everything going on. And hopefully it will help you. Now, if you're looking for a positive-only support group where you won't get attacked for asking questions, the link is in the description box below. And as always, be kind to yourself and rewind.